All right, hey, guess what? Good evening. It's Tuesday, the 31st day of November. In fact, it's the last day of November. Tomorrow happens to be the 1st of December and the final month of the year, 2021. All right, it's Mark Benchop, and you're on the Straight Up. Share the link, spread the word. We'll be right back. We have a packed program for the next hour. Share the link. Thank you.
She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cock-a-crow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cock-a-crow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. Inaga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side. A Rexy and Rover from the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokunani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Banga Mary. Listen to this sweet.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
It's an eco-friendly Christmas. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union is pleased to present our annual Christmas promotion, commencing November 1st, 2021 and concludes December 17, 2021. The credit union recognizes and acknowledges the importance of minimizing our carbon footprint and has tailored this year's promotion to suit by presenting our members with an electric car and bikes, which will undoubtedly raise awareness and help our members to adopt. To participate, one must be a member of the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union, must like and follow the credit union's Facebook page, must have an existing loan with the credit union, must be in good standing with the credit union, must not be an immediate family member of any staff or committee member, must earn a gross of less than $150,000 monthly, and proof of this fact must be attached. And only one coupon is allowed per member. It's an eco-friendly Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins firm.
All right, let me start almost immediately. It's 7 minutes after 9 o'clock. I sometimes wish, because for me, radio is you use your imagination, right? That is what I used to do, or for those of you who are close to my age, maybe older than I am, or a little under my age, you will remember those days with radio, right? You have your little radio, whether you are in the quarantine in Linden and Bartica, wherever you are. And I remember when I was on the quarantine, a little village, a beautiful village called Philippi. Well, it's between Philippi and Alnis Village, right? Alnis Village. And so I say good evening to all the folks at Alnis Village. Yes, especially those of you who attended Alnis Primary School with me. And then I also went to Wellington Park Primary out in Wellington Park. So I was like all over the place. Not like a rolling stone. No, I was just a little kid, right? And so at least at the end of the day, you can say, that I went to the best primary schools in Guyana, two of the best. Wellington Park Primary and Alnis Primary. And I want to say this, we don't see their names in common entrance topping the schools or whatever, but they're good kids came out of those schools. But I want to see their names top common entrance and so forth and so on, at least the next time around. So now if our operator, Lemon, by the way, congratulations to Lemon. He's been doing a great job ever since. Seriously, he has been doing a great job. And congratulations to Lemon. He is enrolled. He's just got his associate degree. Congrats, Lemon. He's heading off to get his bachelor's. And I'm almost certain that his degrees will be authentic. And you know what I mean, right? Don't you? Okay. You know what I mean, don't you? All right, so here's what's happening. Here is what's happening. We're not talking Congress. We know all of the candidates. They're out there. They're in the fields doing their thing, which is what they should be doing. It's a tough race. I'll tell you guys this. It is a tough race. But come, December 11th, we'll see what plays out. Hope everything is going to be peaceful. Hope everything is going to be peaceful. Right. So anyways, congratulations to those persons who went on the ground. At least I give them credit for putting boots on the ground. The crowd seemed to be larger. And I say larger because I remember those days. During the 23 years of the PPP's dictatorship, people were afraid to have boots on the ground. And sometimes, many times, I was there all alone. But I wasn't alone. But I understand the crowds, right? Thanks to guys like Lincoln Lewis and Norris Witter, and even Christopher Rammond and those other guys, and Freddie Kissoon, they were out there. Even though Freddie playing a different politics now, mind you. Somebody is snitching or trying to snitch by emailing Freddie with lies. And that somebody's naughty. You know who you are. Somebody told Freddie that I have on my Facebook page that Freddie, is being paid by the PPP $500,000 per month. I don't know. Maybe the person should do a screenshot, and send that to Freddie via email as well. Some of these guys are ruction, huh? They smile with you, but you've got to be careful with those smile. All right, so what else is happening? Let me say good evening to some of you. Thanks. I forget. How can I go on without thanking my host last evening? Well, the person who hosted the program for me last evening, Apostle London, Nigel London. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. It was a great show. Thank you. And your prayers worked. And all of you who have prayed for me, because I was a little under the weather last evening. In fact, I'm still a little under the weather, but I'm a tough cookie. Not often do you find tough cookies. Let me stop before some of you think that I'm a bit, well, some of us, we've got to admit that we're narcissistic. Nothing is wrong with being narcissistic. Nothing is wrong with saying, hey, I have on a nice tie. Nothing is wrong with saying, I look good. Nothing is wrong with saying, I am a bright and intelligent. Nothing is wrong with that. But some guy needs to feel as though when you do these things and you say those things, you're like narcissistic. But if you go overboard and you become a Ramson type of narcissistic, well, then you could understand what I mean by that, right? All right. Margaret Nelson is saying that Mr. London did a great job. Thank you, Margaret. One of these days, this is what I'm going to do. I want one of you out there, and this is a show, this is a program that I am not afraid to have other folks come and sit in and do their thing. And so one of these days, one of you can come right here and host this show. One of you, any one of you, but not the trench crappos though, right? We don't hate the trench crappos, mind you. Somebody said that for using words such as trench crappos, it's racism. What is wrong with these people? I don't know. What is wrong with these people? Desiree Emmanuel is saying, oh, it's a different person. Chanel Smith Daniels. How did Lemon get Chanel Smith Daniels? I want to come. She wants to come and host the show. All right. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, if Chanel Smith Daniels, I will test her right now. If she wants to come, I'll give her that opportunity. If they get something and say seed more than bygone, let me see if she's going to come on and spend a couple minutes with us. I will send her the link. Let her come in. I'm on by myself this evening, right? But I got some things I want to talk with you guys about. So do forgive me for a quick second. I will see whether Chanel Smith Daniels is serious, or she thinks that we here on 107.1 FM, we here on Straight Up, she thinks that maybe we are kunumunus. And many of you know what kunumunu means, right? Let us see if she has more seed than, I'm not going to redraw that statement. Let us see if she has more seed than bygone. She wants to come on, we give her that opportunity to come right into the studio right now. But good evening to every single one of you. You don't set our schedule here, Miss Chanel Smith. We set our schedule. So you can't be on tomorrow. But on Thursday, I got two guests. I know Air Finale and these guys would say guesses. But I have two guests. Yeah. What is our operator Lemon doing? Lemon could yeah. All right, let's see. How can we begin? what can we do right now? What is there to start with? I want to start with this here. Let's start with, first of all, to congratulate a newborn baby. A newborn baby. Happy Independence Day to, well, of course, that was yesterday. Independence Day to the folks, the people of Barbados. And they are now, what is it? Republic. Remember, we became a republic in 19, let me see if you guys know what year Guyana became a republic. We attained Republican status, that is. Let me see if you guys know your history. Or some of you may have attended the University of IFLA. Hi, yeah, sorry about that. Let me see. Somebody, Brenda Casey, is saying she thinks it's 1966. We don't want that. Who think? You got to give, and you will win something. You will win something. We're giving away a prize. But you got the year correct, Brenda. We're giving away a prize right here. We're giving away something. We are giving away something right here. If you get that correct, just share the link. Right? Let people, somebody said 1963. Let me see who said 1963 here, man. Let's put this person up. We making joke with them. 1963? Who is this person? This person got to be from Bagatstone, right? I'm just kidding with you, Carl Davidson. You know, we respect our listeners and so forth. But no, it's not 1963. And Brenda, it is not 1966. All right? So let me see here. Come on. You guys can do it. We're asking a question, and Denise Booker is saying good night to Bostonians in the house. Right? What year? And you will win yourself something. Look at what is on the screen. You will win yourself something. Nikki Innes says 1966. Wrong. Cecilia Valdine Kendall, probably the Kendalls from Evesham or Epsom, is saying 1970. Asha S is saying 1970. Let me see. Faye Chumley Brown. Holy smoke. Good evening to you, Faye. Faye is saying 1973. We know definitely you wouldn't win anything here tonight at all. Deborah Seeley is saying 1966, May 26. No. What year Guyana became a republic? Meaning you got a Republican status. What year? 1966. I'm seeing some correct answers. 1966. Tracy Ann Marcus Miller, 26th of May, 1966. Wrong. Joyce Van Kooten, 1970. Correct year. Nikki Ennis, wrong year. Milton Newton said make. I don't know who's make. That's okay, Milton. We know what you meant. Let's see here. 1966. Wendy Emanuel is attempting to bully me. She said she is the first one to say 1966, but it's not 1966. Come on, guys. Okay, well, look what we have here now. Whoever this Celeste Clark is, you know, I don't usually like to comment on people with out photograph because sometimes they can be a plant, fake account and these things. This caught my attention. This person is saying 1982. I'm sorry, I'm laughing as though I'm at Stabrook Market or Port Morant Market or one of those markets. You know, hey, you guys are something else. I see we got a couple of winners. We do have a couple of winners. One Anthony Good evening to you, one Anthony. One Anthony said 23rd of February 1970. That is correct. 23rd of February that Guyana attained its Republican status. 23rd, sorry, of February 1970. Some of us weren't born yet. 23rd of February 1970. I want you guys to read between the lines. Read between the lines. Some of us weren't born yet when Guyana became a republic. In 1970, February 23rd. And that is why we have Mashramani. And here is the myth in this year. Some of the PPP folks believe that Mashramani is as a result of Barnum's birthday and all these things. It is not Barnum who set that date. It was the British, and it was agreed on. In fact, it was Chetty Jagan and those guys. All of them agreed to that date. All of them. But don't worry with those rumors, but it's Barnum birthday and this and all them foolishness. Stop the foolishness. And so let us get back and let us congratulate Barbados. Barbados they became, as of yesterday, a republic. So it is the Republic of Barbados. The Republic of Barbados. Congratulations. They're no longer attached to the bosom of the Queen. They're their own child right now. All right, and I noticed Rihanna got a top honor. She is a national hero. Congratulations to Rihanna. Now let us move on now. What else we can talk about? Tired of the Ramson stuff. Get back to that whenever necessary. Tired of it. As Simona Brooms would say, that boy. Good evening to you, that boy. So just imagine he's driving and people driving around Georgetown. People say, look, that boy, that boy. You know, there's a reggae song that goes something, that girl, Shelly Ann. Or let's go to another boy. Speaking of boy, this guy, his name is Joseph Hamilton. Now, Joseph Hamilton was sitting in the same seat at the same radio station being interviewed by a DJ, right? And the question was asked, they're still on this whole notion, and they think that it's the best thing since sliced bread about a conversation has started. And what conversation started? There's not conversation. It's a gaff. It's a rum shop gaff. That's what it is. It's not an intellectual conversation. It's stupidity. It is an ignoramus statement that actually was uttered by that boy. And this thing is trying to pick up and get little mileage and believe that it is some sort of intellectual conversation. No, it wasn't. It is not. It is a street corner gaff. Okay, it is a street corner gaff. And this former plantain chip vendor, and I'm not knocking plantain chips vendor, but this former plantain chip vendor, Joe Hamilton, tried to justify why he now accepts that he is a house slave. That's according to him, mind you, right? That is according to him. He's saying that he is honored to be in the same category or to be called a house slave because it was the house slaves who led the rebellion, right? The rebellions. It was a house slave or house slaves, and he's honored to be called. No. When he said that, this was my immediate reaction. Seriously. That was my immediate reaction to that FOOL. Now he's talking about coffee. How the heck can this thing want to put himself in the category of a coffee? How this thing would want to put himself in the category of a criminal? How this thing, that those sort of individuals back then who were in the house, they were taught, and those folks weren't called house slaves. It's a different meaning today. It simply means that when someone calls you a house slave, Joe Hamilton, it has nothing to do with those who were enslaved and who are forced to be in the house with massa and so forth, right? There's a difference. Those were strong African men, strong. They were intelligent African men who led rebellions. You can't lead a rebellion. You can't even lead anything. You can't even lead that ministry that you're heading. So don't get full of yourself. Don't get force ripe and feel as though that, it is an honor for you to be called a house. No! The meaning of a house slave in modern time, it simply means a worm. A worm, W-O-R-M, a worm. And that's why people address individuals of such. So don't be honored unless you're being honored that you're being called a worm. Because you can't lead any rebellion. You can't do anything that Kofi did against the oppressors, against the slave masters. You are comfortable eating out of the hands of the oppressors. You are comfortable with that. So don't put yourself in a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s category and say that there were people who were against him and he was brave enough to stand up against the oppressors and the racist. You are not. You're just a simple little worm. A worm. Unless you're honored to be described as a worm, right? You're not Kofi. You can never be Kofi. You are a worm. So that statement by Charles Ramsden Jr. is not an intellectual conversation, a discussion. Those things have always been floating around. So there's nothing unique about that. Worm. Right? There's nothing unique about that. So don't think that there's something that is so intellectual and you guys are now starting a conversation. No. You guys are attempting to hoodwink the African Guyanese community into believing that this is some sort of good conversation. No, it is not. Can Lemon get this worm off the stage? So don't say it's an honor for you to be called house slaves. House slaves in the 21st century, it simply means worm. So when you guys see him, address him appropriately. Worm. Minister, worm. That is what you are. Get off. Get him. Oh, come on. Get him off. Come on, Lemon. But it's an honor for him to be a house slave and the field slave. Listen to that worm. And the field slaves didn't do nothing. Do you know of the African ancestors who were enslaved and described as slaves? For you to say that the field slaves were lazy, basically, and they did nothing? Do you know of all of them who were also part of rebellions? They were strong people. How dare you, Mr. Worm? How dare you condemn those of our African ancestors who were enslaved and they were in the fields? How dare you say that they were lazy and they did nothing and all of these sort of things when a lot of them ran away. A lot of them defied whatever it is that was forced onto them. Shut up, you little worm, you little slimy worm. How dare you try to distract it? Hey, guess what? He deserves an honor. He deserves an honor. Not the kind of honor that Rihanna got. He deserves this here. This is for the worm. Let's go, operator. Come on, Lemon. Come on, we've got to give him another one. He deserves another one. Look, he has no saying, he has no authority whenever he speaks. He can basically go and sing for his supper. Crumbs. He's eating the king's meat, the crumbs. That is what he's eating. There's nobody in the African Guyanese community or even Guyanese community at large would listen to this little worm. This, yuck. I'm so glad I'm not eating anything right now. I am so glad. Oh, get him off. No, he deserves another one. Just imagine he's trying to justify a house slave and what our foreparents, African foreparents endured, forced into slavery and all these things. And you talking about, I don't know, Lincoln Lewis. Let's ask this guy to get this worm off. Come on, get him off. Lincoln, I know you have something to say quickly because I have some other stuff to say. And so thank you so much for joining us right now. Good evening, my friend and brother in the struggle. Always have been. Good evening.
Good evening, Mark. Thanks
you are well
giving me
dressed.
some time.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're well dressed tonight. Look at your shirt.
Well, yes, my wife dressed me up and put me out here.
Barrel come.
She said people now see black men and women as being absent in society, not influencing in any way. At least your appearance must be somewhat different.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you a quick question before you get into what you want to do, Lincoln. I'm sure you probably didn't have the time to listen to Joe Hamilton talking about he's so proud to be called a house slave because obviously he's referencing guys like Kofi and Dr. Martin Luther King. So he feels he's in good company. And I was just saying to our listeners that those were different guys back then. They weren't called house slaves, but house slave simply means a worm, a hungry worm. Go ahead.
You don't worry, Joe, man. Joe is a nice butterfly,
And now, Lincoln,
bigger issues in front of us.
What exactly do you mean? Because to say that he's a nice butterfly, forget it. Continue.
Mark, let me tell you what. I am somewhat struck about what is taking place in this society. And I come tonight to say to the viewers, who I must thank for taking time out of their bedtime to listen to what we all have to say. It is my view that the nation needs no further evidence than Minister Charles Ramson's recent disrespected statement to recognize there is a combustible racial problem, if not addressed forthwith, could lead to open conflagration in this society. That young upstart, as I see it, ought to be told the African community is not without role models. Those who by the dint of hard work, sweat, and sacrifices, have honestly and legitimately accumulated wealth. History bears testimony to what I'm saying. For Africans, in the immediate post-chattel slavery society, were able to pool their pennies which they carried in wheelbarrows and other tins and what have you, right? And bought up plantations and converted them into villages. The village movement of Guyana, which was started by Africans, remain unmatched by any other racial group, in context, in concept, in scope, acquisition, and generation of wealth. In this part of the hemisphere, we blaze the trail. Honest, legitimate wealth, we develop that. We have developed that. It is this wealth acquired in the 19th century that the African Guyanese in the 21st century have to fight to preserve, as this government, Ramson is part of, is moving to take it away from all of us. Yours truly, Mark, and viewers, and other ancestors of Kojo McPherson, a former slave, who bought plantations and converted to villages, are seeing a move to covet these lands through nefarious means and at the instigation by senior members of the government. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Annie Landland, is on record, is on public record, advising supporters of his party to break down the McPherson's fence and take the land. This African land grab is widespread in this society. It's widespread, and we have to fight back. As a people, we have to fight back. Africans' history of wealth is multi-tiered. Whereas I could recount stories of my family, including my uncles, great uncles, who pioneered balata bleeding in the interior of Guyana. There are similar ventures and accomplishment of other African Guyanese families. The young upstart Ramson should tell the government to respect, and I say respect, African rights in this country as force citizens and equal participating members of society, as guaranteed in the law, and he will see what role models look like. In every legitimate economic facet of this society, there has been a black man or a woman, if not pioneering, demonstrating the capacity to earn and compete. Africans have nothing to be ashamed of on the economic front at no time, other than those who acquire wealth through ill-gotten gains and means, because such acquisition goes against the moral compass that has influenced the upbringing in many of our households. We are Christians. We respect the 10 Commandments. We live to it. At the level of the ordinary man and woman, the cooperative societies, which are dominated by Africans, have billions of dollars in wealth in the commercial banks. Yet the owners of wealth cannot access loans. And in some instances, rather than the government helping those needing assistance to properly function, they are moving to undermine them. What Ramson says is a wider scheme to undermine us. There is the 2.5 billion plus bauxite workers pension fund. At the time, the largest single pool of money owned by workers. Proposal made to the Barrett Jagdeo government by the Guyana Bauxite and General Workers Union to allow for the conversion of this money into an investment fund rather than break up the plan. It was thumped on. Likewise, was another proposal for the union by the union to have the workers buy into the Bobby's mining company, which they later give away to their friends in Rusal. They dig bauxite out and they then broke it up and they leave it and they went away. This regime, comrades, recently committed to pay each sugar worker who already received terminal benefits $250,000. Several bauxite workers and public servants have not been considered for same. This is how you're treating you, not only where you work, but how you look. This regime recently decided that there are many African Guyanese today who have pursued legitimate path of businesses and are doing relatively well in spite of the roadblocks placed in their way. They have decided that they are going to kick them forward, let them follow. Ramson and his government bring pressure to the Ramson and his government need to bring pressure to the banking system to treat Africans who apply for loans no dissimilar to other races. Offhand, I can tell you, I cite an instance that I bore witness of, a biracial couple experience. The African husband approached the Republic Bank for a loan based on a project prepared by the late Bevan Corey. He was turned down by the bank. Someone drew him aside and advised him to apply for the loan using his wife, who is an East Indian. The only thing Corey did to that proposal was to replace the names, and the wife was granted the loan. This is not an isolated incident, but a norm in this society. Recently, well-known businessman Terence Campbell spoke out about his own discriminatory experience with the bank. Let those who are actively pursuing a program to deny Africans opportunity for wealth creation take their boots off of our necks and create a level playing field. They will see what Africans are made of. It is not a case where they know not, but a case where they don't want our potentials to blossom. Africans don't need a Ramson to lecture us on economic role model. It is in our DNA and lived experience for centuries. We start the economic movement here. In fact, we could benefit from the African experience and contributions to this society. It is a phenomenal contribution that the party he is associated with is not only actively seeking to hinder further expansion, but to suppress, deny, and destroy. He is out of order. Let me end by saying the fact that President Ali has remained silent about Ramson's offensive statements for more than 2 days, it's indicative that such statements reflect Ali's government's position. He is part and parcel of this whole process of discriminating against Black people, marginalizing Black people, demonizing Black people. When they finish demonizing, what Marx is doing, when they finish demonizing us, they're going to consider us as scum of the earth, and they want to kill us after. And who will be using? They'll be using those who are coming out to say Ramson's right and they see nothing wrong. They will be the lynchers. We will have to fight back. And let me tell you this. You spare no one in this fight. This is a fight for survival. This is a fight for the African community. This is not that fight. This is a fight for the African community. And even if we have to marginalize those who are standing in our way, who look like us, we will have to do so. Thank you, my brothers and sisters.
Well said.
Have a great night.
Well said. Before you go, I just have maybe 1 or 2 questions for you, Lincoln. Well said. I wish Lemon would allow us to have you read that again, but we'll have it on video and we will ensure that we replay that so that our listeners in Guyana and those around the world would get to hear that. And I'm so pleased to hear you say that the few who are of African descent who are jumping to defend Ramson, we know that they're doing so for their own self-interest. That's what it is about. It's not that they care about any village or anywhere, you know. We are seeing those types of individuals and we understand who they are, right? But we are not fooled, neither are we bothered by those nonsensical statements coming from the worms of the PPP, the worms, mind you. But let me ask you this here, though, because they are attempting to say that when a Black person or a person of African descent is given either a contract by the PPP or whatever, that all African Guyanese should jump on a mountaintop and start to sing and celebrate. What is your take on that?
Let me tell you something, Mark. I believe that there are rules, there are laws, there are rules, and there are time-honored principles how you deal with contracts. I'm saying to you that if an African man go through the rules of the game, of the business, and he receives a contract, then I will herald him for doing what is right. I am not going to herald anybody who come through the back door and get anything. I'm not going to do it. I believe in rights and the rule of law. And I'll tell you something, if they discriminate in favor of somebody, that discrimination will work against somebody, then I believe that is wrong. It is only time if I do that I'm waiting when it will be done to me. I can't do that. That's my position.
And thank you, because we saw also that good friends of Irfan Ali, they're getting these contracts. Look at this guy, Mohammed's Enterprise, defense being awarded fire service contract. He's a close friend, and the perception is always there that you give out these things to your friends and your buddy, and not following the laws or the rules of the procurement board. This guy, Mohammed, is claiming that he built his building on Lombard Street. He built some other building. And I mean, we all could claim. The Adams in Linden could claim that they build boats and all these things. They're contractors too. Maybe the Adams should have been given this contract, almost $1 billion. I don't know. I just don't know. The cronyism.
I just want you to understand something, Mark.
Sure.
Mark, this question here, whether you had experience to build something or not. This is the process that you went through to get it. If the process is flawed, then the results gotta be flawed. Can't be. You understand me? Don't tell me that because I get experience, you got a right to just hand me a contract. When there are rules which say that how we should acquire it. But the strength of the PPP is that they have no damn shame at any time. They will seek to, and you know they'll put out a face looking like mine to defend their lawlessness. That's my concern. When people who look like me are prepared to work for people who set out to destroy the community that they come from.
Crumbs, and oftentimes you hear that the crumbs that they're getting, everybody should celebrate about the crumbs that they're getting, not knowing they haven't realized that they're being brainwashed by the crumbs that they're getting to go into these communities and attempt to brainwash those people, whether it's at Crickler, whether it's Linden, whether it's Buxton, wherever. But the people are smarter. They're way smarter than that. They know those individuals who are attempting, and most of those individuals are not smart enough to brainwash people. But let me ask you this though, because this is what they are preaching in the predominantly African Guyanese community. Look what the PPP doing. For 5 years, the APNU didn't care about y'all. They didn't do nothing for y'all. They didn't build y'all bridge. They didn't build y'all roads. They didn't give y'all lights. Them is bad. That is what they're preaching. How would you respond to that sort of propaganda? My opinion, propaganda.
Yes. During the APNU time, nobody will go in anybody's house and shoot them in the bed. Right? Let them go to Dartmouth and deal with the issue of Boston, who was killing his bed, who was killing his home in the dead of the night. You can have all the physical things, but if your life is threatened, your rights are being denied, how you can say that you're comfortable? You know what the slave people, you know what the slaves fought for? They fought for freedom. They didn't fight for the land. After they get freedom, then they look for the land. Then they look for wealth. What we are doing here is allowing ourselves to be enslaved in another way. And that is what we need to understand, and we need to stop it. We have to stop it. This is a long journey, man. There should be no letting up on this issue. There should be no letting up.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm going to tell you?
Go ahead.
You know what I'm going to say, Mark? Every talk show host in this country who look like who are of African descent, you know what they're going to tell them? They're going to go to the bottommost and say those people are racist. But when you were talking against the coalition,
they've been doing that.
You are heroes. But when they want to transgress rights and violate laws and you're stopping them, then you become a racist, right? It's only, let me tell you something. They're just see it, you know, very early. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you guys something.
Sure.
You check it out. Fox Burnham in the Indian community is seen as a dictator. They never talk anything good of him, right? They never talk anything good of Fox Burnham. I remember when the when our government was changed in Barbados. I was in Barbados when the elections were, the morning after the elections. I went into Barbados. And I met a guy at the gas station. He was Guyanese. And when he finished telling you, we asked you, the guys asked you how he ended up here, he said, Burnham did this and Burnham did that. And I asked how old he was. And I'm going to tell you something. He wasn't born when Burnham died. But all that he see is negatives about Burnham. You check it out. You ask any African leader in this country who come on your show about Cheddy Jagan, they will highlight the positive of Cheddy Jagan. But Cheddy Jagan did some damn bad things. So all that they do over the years is to paint our leaders, starting with Burnham, as evil and Cheddy as good. Cheddy, under Cheddy government, when he came in power in 1992, all the heads of department, local and even the foreign service, he knock off all the black people then, right? They did that. I'm telling you what they did, right? But that wasn't racist. He wasn't racist, but he kept all the Indians. He wasn't racist. That's what Cheddy did, right? But they see him as an angel. But black people will not talk, will not walk around and demonize Cheddy. They will talk about the strengths of him as a leader, the positive things. So when they talk now about role model, it is an entrenched behavior of the PPP and its leaders and many of its supporters, where they just want to demonize black people. And they get another opportunity and they sit on a program. And when Ramson spoke, don't believe that he misstepped. He's a part of the program. All he did, he had the strength not only to conceptualize it, but he was able to vocalize it. That's what dangerous here, brother. So understand, that's all this thing. Right?
All right.
Don't be surprised.
Just to add to what you said, in 1992, October 5th, when they took office, after that elections, not only the foreign service officers and diplomats were sent packing, except names such as Insan Ali and Indian names, they were left. But one lady who was black, well, Douglas, she was asked to remain because Thelma Singh, her name was actually last name Singh, but she happened to be black, and the only reason she was asked to remain there is because of her last name. When Rohi found out later, he was shocked. He said, "You're Thelma Singh?" So that's another story, and all the folks at GBC were fired, terminated, except guys like became a magistrate, Fazil Aziz. Fazil Aziz was just Fazil Aziz then took over. He became the general manager of the Guyana Broadcasting Corporation. When folks, brilliant folks like Ave Brewster, who was then the general manager, was sent packing. And Fazil Aziz was just a regular announcer. He did a program there, and they made him the general manager of the Guyana National Broadcasting Corporation. All right, so I just thought I'd remind folks of that. But let me ask you this before you go. I know you don't have much to do this evening, but before you go, let me say this. Let me read this for you and our listeners. This is coming from the chairman of the Private Sector Commission. The chairman of the Private Sector Commission, this guy, Paul Chung, who happens to be the chairman of the Guyana Oil Company, right? He is the chairman for there. Lots of corruption. They haven't dealt with that multi-million-dollar alleged corruption, US dollars corruption. They haven't dealt with that. No one has been charged or anything. But this is what this guy is saying, that the commission, the Private Sector Commission, concerning the fire at police headquarters, he's saying here that well-known political spokespersons taking comfort by the fact that they live in the USA have sought to encourage and publicly promote terrorist activity in Guyana. And now that is what he is saying. That is what this Kunumunu, who is close to Irfanali, is saying. But this is what the fire service, this is what they're saying, according to this report, that Ivleri fire was electrical, circuit was overloaded, according to the source. However, this investigation concluded 2 days ago. But this is what Robeson Ben is saying. Ivleri fire report completed, review underway before findings made public. Why do you suppose? Now, we see the sort of propaganda they're trying to spread, but they don't want the public to know that that fire was electrical in nature. What is happening there, Lincoln?
They always look for somebody to blame about these matters, boy. I want to tell you something. I know Paul personally. I had the opportunity of working with him, working close with him, you know. And I am somewhat disappointed. Like, you know, there are people when you develop some relationship with them, you don't want to demonize, you don't want to beat them down in the public. But I'll call him. I'll have to talk with him. Because I'll tell you something. Now that he's chairman for the Private Sector Commission, let me make this point to you. That the 7% or the imposition of wages and salaries on public employees, teachers, nurses, and so forth, right? They are a part of the plan, the private sector. Because the moment the wages go up, it is more pressure for them to pay people more than that $44,500 that they are paying, right? And they don't want to pay. They will tell you, you know what they'll tell you? Oh, they're concerned about their workers and this and that. If you're concerned about them, pay them better. The private sector is the place where they take away all the pension plans. You know, pension plan, medical plan, they're taking away. Everything they're taking away. But these same men and women, they can buy what you call beach houses in Miami, in Florida, and other places, right? They can do these things. But they can't pay a decent increase to workers. This fire, I don't expect different from Robeson. I know the man, and I remember well, we worked in Bauxite together. I remember the things he used to be saying. He and Sam is the same thing, you know. The things them that they say when the PNC was in power, right? And when the PVP came to power, they did the opposite to what they were calling for. So I know these people. You have to take them seriously because they have a microphone. You have to take them seriously. But I'll tell you, Mark, I am happy that we have been able, this world has evolved and communication is getting easier. If we hadn't a Benz Cup, we hadn't a Sherrod Duncan platform or Burke, the Coms TV, if we hadn't those things, then these guys would have very rough shadow over us. Thanks for what you guys are doing. You're doing human service to this country and helping this community to do better than we have been doing.
And let me also say thanks to the Village Voice and you as well for what you guys do there at the Village Voice. We all have our roles to play, and we all do play our roles. And thanks to those gentlemen that you mentioned as well. But Village Voice also needs to be thanked.
Yes, Mark, let me point out to you. Thank you very much. Let me point out to you. I'm not the man who will walk around to beat our own drum. We believe that when we write the exam, the examiner says if we are pass or we fail. In this case, you're the examiner. Thanks very much. Sure. Thanks to the viewership. You know, I'm happy that
when you meet with your friend Paul Chung, that propagandist, right? Ask him about this. This is what he said on July 24th. The PNC cabal, when will you guys come clean to this nation? Fraud is fraud. You know, this is a guy who had no evidence, has no evidence still, never condemned Irfan Ali, 19 fraud charges, banned from entering Canada, all these things. But look at your friend Paul Chiang. Look at him. So why should people be surprised when he now, licking the boots of Irfan Ali, because that's what he's doing, is saying, without any evidence, blaming folks who live, spokespersons who live overseas in the US. But today he can't name those individuals, you know. He's not going to come out and apologize now that the investigations are concluded. And according to the agency that is responsible for this investigation, not the private sector commission, look what it's saying. Electrical circuit was overloaded.
So what happened with the man? What happened with the man who just set this fire?
But look, this is a different fire. That's breakdown.
This is Ivleri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what Ben is saying. Ben is saying, no, don't release that report as yet. Let us review the findings first. Now, since when Ben has the authority to review the findings and decide what goes out from what doesn't go out? Since
the
when?
PPP, let me point out to you. The PPP don't work by laws, rules, time-honored principles, guided by international best practices. They don't operate like that. The PPP is about the PPP, a shameless bunch of people. This is what you have. And that's what we're going to get. Let me tell you what. There are people who get annoyed with me when I talk about it. When you sow rice, don't look for wheat. This is it. You sow or you elect a group of people who don't care, who just all their intention is just to get power and get rich. So be it. We have to stop them. All that we are saying, my position from the trade union, is that this wealth is not your own. This country is not your own. You have been elected, you applied for the job, you have performed within the confines of the Constitution and laws. All this evidence that we get, don't let these things just slip by tomorrow. We have to make a dossier on these men and women. We have to crusade across the length and breadth of this country. Let the people know there are people who will not come on this program to listen to us. So what we got to do, we got to get information that they can read. We got to do that. These people will not stop. And let me say further that if you only say, you see when Waddle say that the African people must buy from themselves, I believe that they get irate and they want to kill Waddle, they kill him. When people talk now that what we should be talking now is that the poor must support the poor and the downtrodden. Because this is a class struggle. A class struggle because the people who, you have the haves and you have the have-nots. But what they do, they have been skillful to pit races, poor man from Enmore against a poor man from Buxton, or a poor man from Melanie against a poor man at Lowland, pitting races against races. Let them fight. And while they're fighting, while the poor people fighting, they're going away with the wealth. We got to sell it differently. We got to let people know what's this. That these guys, you see the oil money already? I talk about it, that oil would create so much a problem in this country. And I hope when Exxon leaves here, that we are worse off than we are today. Thank you, Mark.
Before we go, let me get your opinion on this here. Kashif and Shanghai, who is the I believe director of sports or something. He's on some chairman of the sports commission, supposed to be balanced position. He's also part of some football team, Kashif and Shanghai and so forth. This is what this guy is saying, Kashif Mohammed. It's so sad to see people trying to desperately to defend the horrors of 1964 to 1992. I lived through it, so I can talk clearly about it. Why can't people be honest and call a effing spade a effing spade? What's wrong with Kashif?
You know, Kashif was a regional councillor when Egerton David Sevens was the vice chair for Region 10. He was a PNC regional councillor.
This was what year?
This it came. Was it in 1990? I believe it was the 1992 elections. Yeah, he was elected as regional councillor. So I'll tell you what. I don't know where is his evidence, but he may be just like the other people who are singing for their supper. Well, I want to tell him that you can do everything and you can acquire all the wealth, but your dignity, your honesty and your dignity must be more important than what you're doing. Wasting time.
Well said. Well said. It's funny how Kashif, 1964, I'm certain that he was a little boy, probably still with the mentality, but it's funny how these guys don't talk anything about the 23 years, dark years of the PPP, when the villages were being discriminated against and you had young African men were turned into killers and all these different things on behalf of drug lords and recruited to be part of phantom squad, death squads, and all these things. It's funny that they don't talk about these things.
What Kashi failed to understand, that is these stupid things, saying and doing these stupid things that put Kashif and Shanghai out of the major football tournament in this country. I tell you what, these guys need to be more tactical. They need to understand that this thing is not about them. It's about the tribe. It's about the people. How 1964 come in? What business from 1964 to 1992? You have a government that is in office. It is this government that is being appraised. Not because a government may do bad 2 years ago. That means give you legitimacy to do worse than that government. You are elected to do better. And it brings out the shallowness of the persons who the PPP identify as leaders. Let me tell you what. You know what they are doing there? They are demonizing current leaders. And they are now selecting, telling the people, they go into the black community and say, here's something. People like Sharma Solomon and them who are from Region 10, just like Kashif. Sharma may have a poll, he may have great support. Those guys are not your leaders. They have not been able to give you anything. We're going to give Kashif them a couple dollars and they're going to come in and they're going to do some things for you. They are your leaders. You know what they're doing? They're demonizing our leaders. And as they demonize them, they destroy us, they destroy the leaders, then they come for the followers. You make you docile, and then they appoint to you. These are the people who must lead you. I want to tell you, you will call them old slave or whatever you want to call them. I am calling them agent provocateur. We have to identify them and we have to alienate them this in another way. I'm not saying that we need to annihilate them. I say alienate them, right? In another way. That's how we got to do it. But we have work to do, Mark. The viewership, I want to tell you, we have a lot of work to do. We can't break this country up, you know. But what we got to do is to make sure that the 150 families that own 90% of the wealth in this country, 95% of the wealth in this country, the 150 families that own 95% of the wealth in this country, they don't take the rest, take the out of it, right? We will have to get something from this year. See that oil that they want to run away? Will tell me they socialize this society to believe that the APNU had a bad deal, and they will, when they get to vote for them, and when you get to office, they will renegotiate it. That's what they fool us with. They fool the nation. They didn't fool me. They fooled the nation, right? Because I know the people I'm dealing with. I'm saying to you that we must hold them accountable. Now that they say they can negotiate it, we must know about our share and how it must be spent. Let us work. Who must get it? Mark?
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, sorry about that. Technical hiccups here. But thank you so much for your time, Lincoln Lewis. I appreciate it. Well said. And to all of our listeners as well, thank you all so much for tuning in this evening, as always. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some guests, but I know definitely on Thursday I will have some guests right here on 107.1 FM. Don't forget tomorrow morning, tuning for, what is it? Yep, the Gabby show, the mid-morning show on 107.1 FM with our DJ selector, Andre. Again, Lincoln Lewis, thank you. And again, to all of our guests, our listeners, yep, thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the evening, Lincoln, and thank you for your contributions as always. God bless.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks for the viewers.
Yep.
She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockacrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cock-a-crow, dagabag, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. The naga jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. sun a go down, but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Banga Mary. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. Them children glad when the weekend come. Out in the yard, them all gather round. Some a play catcher, some making house from straw. Two who come later, a grandma or grandpa, all a sit down just a wait. Moonlight so bright, it's just the right time to listen story or to say a little nursery rhyme. Grandpa voice a echo in the night as he tell some picnic are there with fright. Oh, Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Buranansi, even Watamuma. Oh, Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Buranansi, even Watamuma. Yeah, man, that's the true story that tell the people about life in the country, life in the country.